Amen.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. ما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The first verses are from chapter 23, verses 112 to 115. قال كم لبثتم في الأرض عدد سنين قالوا لبثنا يوما أو بعض يوم فاسأل العادين. قال إن لبثتم إلا قليلا لو أنكم كنتم تعلمون أفحسبتم أنما خلقناكم عبثا وأنكم إلينا لا ترجعون. And the English translation is, he will say, how many years were you on the earth? And they will say, we remained there a part or a part of a day. But ask those who keep count. He will say, you remained only a little. If only you had known. Do you think that we have created you in vain and that you will not be returned to us. Next is chapter 3, verse 185. كل نفس ذائقة الموت وإنما توفون أجوركم يوم القيامة ومن زحزح عن النار وأدخل الجنة فقد فاز وما الحياة الدنيا إلا متاع الغرور. Every soul will taste death, and you will be paid your reward fully only on the day of resurrection. Then whoever is removed far from the fire and is made to enter the garden, he indeed attains the objective. And the life of this world is nothing but a provision of vanities. And then chapter 6, verse 70. وَذَرِ الَّذِينَ اتَّخَذُوا دِينَهُمْ لِعِبًا وَلَهْوًا وَغَرَّتْهُمُ الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا وَذَكِّرْ بِهِ أَن تُبْصَلَ نَفْسٌ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ لَيْسَ لَهَا من دون الله ولي ولا شفيع وإن تعدل كل عدل الله يؤخذ منها أولئك الذين أبسلوا بما كسبوا لهم شراب من حميم وعذاب أليم بما كانوا يكفرون. And leave those who take their religion for a play and an idle sport, and whom this world's life has deceived, and remained hereby, lest a soul be destroyed for what it has earned. It has, besides Allah, no friend and no intercessor. And though it offers every compensation, it will not be accepted from it. Those are they who are destroyed for what they earn. For them is a drink of boiling water and painful chastisement because they disbelieved. I have recited these verses from 3 different places. To show you that this is not, Sadaqallahu al-Azim. To show you that this is not an isolated instruction of the Holy Quran. And all we have to do is to look around us, and we'll see that the current state of the Muslim world reminds us again and again that we have forsaken Allah. And the result is that He has forsaken us. People say, well, this is very unfair and so on. But if you have a friend and he gives you everything you need, and he does everything for you, and you ignore him, and you pay no attention to him, and you don't even thank him, the next time when you are in need and he doesn't answer your call, would he be right? Would you be right to moan that he didn't answer your call? And Allah reminds us in chapter 6, verse 70, that you have, or your soul has, besides Allah, no friend and no intercessor. But we ignore him. And we think if we turn to the rich and the powerful in this world, they will do something for us. But they don't do anything. All they do is humiliate you. But we don't seem to learn any lesson from that. And we keep on repeating the same thing. As a nation, if we look back in history, British arrived in India and Muslims like Mir Jafar in Bengal supported the British against their own family, people like Sirajuddaula. Why? They turned to the British to help them secure the kingship of Bengal, rather than turning to Allah and saying we must remain united and seek Allah's help. Seek Allah's help in not just gaining things of this world, but also Allah's help in controlling our desires for things of this world. Because they will lead us astray. And as another verse said, every soul must taste death. And on that day, you will see the result of what you have done. Because you've taken your religion to be a joke. But that wasn't the only example. Mir Sadiq and Nizam of Hyderabad supported the British against Tipu Sultan when he tried to maintain an independent Muslim kingdom in southern India. All of this was well before the time of Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib, the promised Messiah. But it continued. We're talking about centuries over which this stupidity has continued. Muslims of Saudi Arabia, they supported the Christian West during the First World War and stabbed our Turkish Muslim brothers in the back. When they attacked Turkey from the south, the army would arrive and Turks will see an army coming and the army would be shouting Allahu Akbar. And they would think that help had arrived. But this was a trick. And they would come out of their trenches only to be shot. What was the result of that treachery? From Turkey down to Saudi Arabia, it was one Muslim country. It was divided up into Turkey, into Iraq, into Lebanon, into Syria, into Jordan, what is now Israel, and Saudi Arabia. And Israel was created as a direct result of this treachery. This happens not just in public affairs, but in personal affairs as well. All over the world, it's still happening. Muslims supported Mr. Trump during the US presidential election rather than turning to Allah and seeking his help. They thought, Mr. Trump will give them justice. And what have they ended up with? The most pro-Zionist cabinet ever seen by the United States. But we don't learn a lesson. We keep on doing exactly the same thing over and over again, rather than seeking Allah's help, which the Quran tells us to do over and over again, and relying on our own resources. We run to this country and that country, and then we complain when we are let down. Why should America be concerned with your interest? They're concerned with their own interests. And we support them. They murdered Saddam Hussein, they murdered Colonel Gaddafi, and so many other Muslim leaders. How? With support of other Muslims. And yet, you blame and complain that it was Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib who told you not to fight the British. Why isn't the whole of the Muslim world rushing to Gaza now and Lebanon? Why are they sitting on their behinds, not doing anything? Why didn't Egypt attack Israel in response to what happened in Gaza? Or Jordan, or Syria, or Lebanon for that matter? And what we're told is this: oh, now there is peace in Lebanon. Yes, indeed. But this peace is like the example I'm going to give you. A man breaks into my house to try and occupy it, and I fight back. And I hit him, and I hurt him, and I get hurt, and he gets hurt. And somehow the police arrive. And they shoot me, the owner of the house, dead. And the fighting stops. And what does the police claim? Well, fighting has stopped. Peace has been established. The owner of the house is dead, but that doesn't matter. There's no fighting going on anymore. The house is being occupied by someone else. That's okay. We have peace. No one is fighting anyone. This is the peace that is achieved by Muslims every time, by turning to others and depending on them rather than depending on Allah. If you depend on Allah, it will be a hard road. It will be a long road. And at times it may seem to you as if you should give up. But if you don't, and you carry on, you will succeed. Why? Because God says in the verse that I recited, you don't have any friend or intercessor except Allah. But we ignore him and we turn to the powerful and the rich in this world. And we are humiliated over and over again. But we don't learn a lesson from that. The reason that it happens is the fact that, as the verse told us, if we don't leave those who take their religion for play and an idle sport, and whom this world's life has deceived, and remind people with this message, the Holy Quran, in case the soul be destroyed for what it has done. Forget about others and calling them to the Holy Quran and Islam. We are destroying our own souls. We think that the few years that we have on this earth is what matters. How long are you going to live here? 100? 110? Not more than that. Compare it to the time you spend as a fetus in the womb. That's 9 months. That's less than a year. But the fetus doesn't realize that that is the case. Only when it's born does it realize that the time span is going to be much longer outside the womb than it was in the womb. And that's why the Holy Quran asks, how many years did you remain on the earth? It is like being in the womb. And they will say, we remained a day or part of a day. But ask those who keep an account of how much time people spend here. The reply we will receive will be, you remained only for a tiny fraction of the time. But just like the fetus didn't know, we don't realize. Although we're being told over and over again by Allah, but we still don't realize. This is why I called this khutbah, the here and the hereafter. We do all kinds of things to attain success in this world. But what is that success? This is hankering after big cars and big houses and fancy looking clothes, etc. And we think that is great success. Well, if that is your measure of success, then Allah forbid me for saying so. Who were the most unsuccessful community in the world? The most unsuccessful community were the early Muslims and the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Holy Prophet passed away. They didn't even have enough cloth in the house for his to make his burial cover. Is that then your measure of success? We go to Medina and we go to the Holy Prophet's last resting place and we kiss the walls and we kiss the curtains surrounding it and we cry and lament and we think we are showing our devotion and our love for the Holy Prophet Muhammad. But then when we leave, we start bowing to the rich and the powerful and begging them and kneeling to them. I'm not saying you have to be rude and slap people in the face. But if you want to show love and devotion for the Holy Prophet Muhammad, a better method might be to actually copy him, emulate him. He depended on Allah to give him strength and courage to rely on his own resources. He didn't go running and begging to the rich and the powerful with mighty armies to come and help him. Not only that, but he put everyone else in the community before himself. He would go hungry to try and make sure that those around him had enough to eat. He would go hungry to make sure that the prisoners of war, people who had come to destroy Islam and to kill him, they had enough to eat. Why don't we emulate that? We emulate things that don't benefit the rest of humanity. What is the length of our beard? How high above your ankles should be your trousers? Does this cap accord with the sunnah of the Holy Prophet or not? The really important thing is to love and care for humanity. That shows your love for the Holy Prophet Muhammad. And if we do that, then we are preparing something for the hereafter. When we die, do we take our cars with us? When we die, do we take our big houses with us? When we die, do we take our silks and ornaments with us? The only thing that goes with us is our deeds. And as I said, just like the fetus doesn't realize the length of his stay on this earth, 9 months compared to 90 years, we don't realize that the hereafter is everlasting. And to gain something in this life, we do things that mean a loss in the next life. We complain about our children and so on. Well, okay. Let's not say we. I complain. But I'm also like the same teenager who, when told to do revision for the exams and so on, it's too burdensome to spend half a day or a day revising for the exam next day. And they're told by parents and teachers and so on, you will fail. And they do fail. And then they blame the parents and the teachers for telling them that they will fail. So let us promise ourselves that we will emulate our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and sacrifice the joys of this world for the hereafter by loving and helping others regardless of who they are and depending only on Allah and His support. In the prayer, please pray for the whole humanity that Allah may keep everyone safe and sound and free from harm. Say special prayers for those in Palestine, in Lebanon and so on, who are going through a very difficult time. We can't even imagine how difficult the times are for them when mothers are watching their children die of malnutrition because there's no food, or minor ailments because there is no medication. And pray for those who are subjecting these innocent women and children, men, women and children, to such torture, that Allah may open their eyes so that they can see what they are doing. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Qur'anil Azim wa nafana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim. Innahu ta'ala jawadun kareemun malikun barrufur rahim. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم واجعلنا منهم واقتل من خذل دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تجعلنا منهم. عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. حي الصلاة حي الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين وذلك الذي يدع اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين وويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده.
ربنا
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانهر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده.
ربنا
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أستغفر الله. أستغفر الله. Thank you for joining us for today's Friday service. With the prayer that whoever you are and wherever you may be, may Allah keep the whole of humanity safe and sound and free from harm. Until we meet again next Friday. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and